So I want to start off by saying that photography is not a crime. Nor is filming or vlogging or anything along them lines. It is not a crime. So this rant and rave is a shout out to all fellow photographers or vloggers to see how many, and to anybody really who wants to watch this, and I just want to see how many people agree with me on this one or are against it. I'm just getting really frustrated recently of people who are stigmatizing photography as a crime. Now, the reason why I'm pointing this out now is saying this is because there's an advert that's come out recently about terrorism. Now, in the advert, I just want to start off by saying that I am all for the message that they're trying to get out there, which is if you see something suspicious, act on it. If you see something that doesn't seem right, then by all means say something. You know what I mean? If you think you've seen a crime, report it. I'm all for that. That is not the issue that I'm having. The issue that I'm having is in the advert there is a guy that is stood there in public with the mobile filming. Now I get in the advert, it's like a story. It's like a storyline. There's a guy that walks into a shop, he buys some supplies, he goes out into public, he films, stood in front of a building out in public and is filming it, and there's people watching him, and the message is, if you see something, report it. So these people see this guy and they're ringing up and reporting it. I don't agree with that message. I agree with the message. I don't agree with how they're portraying that message, because that is saying to kids watching that advert that, oh, if you see somebody stood there in front of a building, ring the police up because he's about to commit a crime. It's bizarre. Now, if I walk down the street, right, and I saw somebody stood outside a building, whatever building that might be, if I saw somebody stood outside a building holding a gun or holding a knife, or he looked like he had a belt full of grenades attached to him, I will be straight on the phone ringing the police. No questions asked. That to me would look suspicious. Now, if I walked down the street and saw somebody stood outside a building taking pictures, I wouldn't batter an eyelid. And obviously on the advert, that's a story, but I don't know what that guy's intent is. I don't know whether he's planning on coming back later and blowing up that building or whatnot, or if he's just been in a shop beforehand to buy some stuff. I don't know that. All I see is a guy stood in front of a building taking pictures. That is not suspicious to me. So I don't understand why people flip out over somebody taking pictures. I can't get my head around it, right? We do it all the time. Anybody who's watching this now, you tell me that you've never taken a picture out in public in your life. You just tell me that you haven't. Fair enough, right? If you go to a beach, right? If you go to a beach or a local tourist spot, yes, you see it all the time. You see people taking pictures all the time at a local tourist spot. It's a norm. People do that and nobody batters an eyelid. Yes, I admit somebody stood outside a building, a church or a school or something along them lines. Yes, that might look a little bit more odd, shall we say. You know what I mean? Somebody stood outside that because it's not something, no, you know, you take a picture of. It's not like an appealing, but does that mean to say it's wrong? I mean, a photographer is a photographer. So let's pick a couple of scenarios, shall we? You see a guy or a woman, I'm not going to sexualise this, right? You see a guy or a woman stood on a street, on a public street, on the corner of a street, outside a building, taking pictures, right? Do you know what that person's taking pictures of, right? if somebody is pointing their camera at a building, right, pointing the camera in a direction, do you necessarily know what that person's taking pictures of? No, you don't. It might not even be taking pictures of that building. It might be a bird lover, and he might have just seen an unusual bird land on the roof and pointed his camera at that bird to take a picture. Or he might be taking a picture of the view behind the church. Or he might be taking a picture of something in front of the building. You don't know what he's taking a picture of, right? Let's move the scenario to a park, shall we? Now, as a parent, I've taken my child to numerous of parks, and I've taken pictures of her loads of times. And I'm sure any parent out there watching this now, so have you. I'm sure grandparents, relatives, and I'm sure you've taken a picture of a loved one in a park at some point or other. Now let's put that down as if you see, like I say, a lone man or a lone woman without anybody with them taking pictures. He stood there at a park taking pictures, right? Is that suspicious? Now, I can just go as far as saying and understanding, yes, to some people that would look odd. Sorry to say, but especially if it's a guy. If a guy's on his own and he stood by a park full of kids taking pictures, for obvious reasons, yes, that can look suspicious to some people. But how do you distinguish between a photographer and a paedophile? If someone is stood there next to a park taking pictures, how do you know he's just not a nature lover? How do you know he's not just taking a picture for an article? Is stood there? Is taking a picture of a park full of kids and the scenery around it for any reason, like I say, like an article or something like that. How do you know that? How do you know he's not doing that? Oh, it is a paedophile. Now, if I was at a park and I was on a park with my child and she was playing and I looked over and saw a guy taking pictures, or like I say, or a woman, would I think that was suspicious? Now, you have all right in the world to go up and ask. And if, like I say, if it was me, if somebody come up to me and said, "Excuse me, may I ask what you're taking pictures of?" I'd tell them. I'd even go as far as saying, "Yeah, have a look, have a look at my camera," and I'd show them. You know what I mean? But I would not go up to someone and say, "Stop taking pictures. I'm jumping straight on the phone and ringing the police." I wouldn't do it. I could not wrap round my head phoning up the police and saying, "Excuse me, there's a suspicious guy here taking pictures. It's still perfectly legal in public. He's not, he's just stood there taking pictures." I couldn't imagine bringing myself around to doing it because it just sounds bizarre, complaining over somebody taking pictures. You know what I mean? I mean, they're using terrorism, right? And I'd like somebody, please, to prove me wrong. If I'm wrong with this, I'd like somebody to prove me wrong, right? But I'm going to pick this. I'm going to pick this for a reason, because it was local to me. So I'm going to pick the local Manchester arena terror attack that happened recently. And the reason why I'm picking that is because that's my local arena and I've been to thousands of concerts there. So if you're not aware, obviously a bomber went into the foyer of the Manchester arena attack and set off a bomb. Now, I can guarantee, I can put my money down and say that I don't think that bomber went into that arena, stood in that foyer and started pointing his camera and going like that and taking pictures. I can guarantee that he didn't. And now, if someone wants to prove me wrong, go ahead, right? If I'm wrong in saying that, but I can guarantee. It might have gone on Google to have a look to find out where the entrance was or find out how he gets in there or whatever. But I can guarantee he just walked in there and did what he did. I can guarantee he didn't. He might have even walked through there a few times. He might have even walked through Manchester a few times and walked through the arena a couple of times. But I can guarantee he didn't stand there for hours with a tripod taking pictures. I can guarantee that. Yeah? He just went in there and did what he did. People taking pictures are not terrorists. But this advert that has just come out is making it sound like we are. And people who are paranoid are making it sound like we are. You know what I mean? There is nothing to be paranoid of having a picture taken. There just isn't. Right? And if you're somebody who doesn't like having your picture taken, right? I've just had a recent chat with somebody about this, right? And they hate having the picture taken. They're like, no, I wouldn't want somebody to stand there and take a picture of me. If that's the case, right? If you're out in public and you see somebody taking pictures, you would walk away from them. You would ignore them. You would cover your face up, because, as I've said in my previous vlog, and if you're in a busy public place and you're filming or taking pictures, you can't help but people walking into your line of shot, and you can't help but capture somebody. It's just impossible to blur everybody's single faces out or to not capture people's faces. It's impossible. But if you do see someone taking pictures and you don't want your face on camera, walk behind them, cover your face up. Do not put your face in a line of that camera, otherwise you're going to have your picture taken. But this person were like, oh, well, I've got rights, I don't want my picture taken. Well, that's fine, but unfortunately you can't stop someone from taking your picture out in public. You just can't. It's not, you cannot force somebody to stop doing something that isn't illegal. You can't. Taking pictures is not illegal out in public. It's not a crime. So if you cannot demand somebody to stop taking pictures. You just can't do it. You know what I mean? You make yourself look stupid if you try and do it. You know, like, for example, I don't like so let's pick say, for example, nudist speech, right? I find that odd. You know, and it's not just even nudist speech. There's people in this world who walk around naked, right? Just because I find that odd and I find that strange, if I stumbled across someone and saw someone walking around naked, I wouldn't, oh my God, please come, there's somebody walking around naked. I wouldn't do that. Now, fair enough, you could say it's a bit odd if I saw a guy walking up and down the street in a normal neighbourhood naked. That's a little bit more strange. But there are places, like I say, like nudist speeches and places where it's okay for people to strip off and walk around naked. I find that strange. But would I ring up the police on them? No. It's just the same as somebody taking pictures. Just because you find it odd doesn't mean it is. Doesn't mean that taking pictures is odd. I adore taking pictures. And I take pictures ever. This person says to me, oh, I've got all my memories stored up here. I don't need to take pictures. That's fine. That's fine. That's okay. That's good for you. I do. I like to archive, if you like, my memories. I've got albums and albums full of photographs because I like people to come in, sit down, and I've got my photo albums on display. And if they say, oh, can I have a look at that? They're more than welcome to. Because that's showing up. You can see behind me all these pictures. I love photography. I love taking pictures. And I cannot get my head round why people find it so bizarre of somebody stood there pointing a camera and taking pictures. Why? What is so bizarre about it? It makes no sense. So if you see somebody taking pictures, don't freak out. Go up to him and talk to him. Excuse me, sir, do you mind taking pictures? I mean, yes, you'll get some rude people who say, mind your own business, and I wouldn't agree with that. If somebody saw me taking pictures and came up to me, I'd quite happily show them. Yeah, have a look. I'd show them. I'd open up my camera and show them. I wouldn't delete it. I wouldn't say, if they turned around and said, oh, you've caught me in that one, please delete it. I'd say sorry, but I can't. I'm not going to delete it. I'd disagree with that. But I'd be quite happy to talk to them and show them what I've taken pictures of. I know there might be, like I say, some people who wouldn't and be a bit more rude about it, but any normal photographer would be happy to show off his work and show off his photography skills. And like I say, any normal photographer is just stood there taking pictures of nature, of a building, of a tree, of anything he can see. And it's not suspicious. Taking pictures is not terrorism. Taking pictures is not a crime. And I can guarantee, like I say, and put my life on it and put money down on it, that any terrorist out there don't go out in public, stand there for hours taking pictures of the place that they're about to blow up. I just can't see it happening. If a terrorist is going to go and cause harm and blow up somewhere, they're going to go and do it. They're not going to go there and take pictures of the place. They might research the place online, but there we have it. You know what I mean? People flip out over somebody taking a picture of things that are online anyway. Where's Google got their pictures from? There's cameras everywhere. This is another thing that makes me laugh about people who freak out about photographers. Here in England, we have a saying, and I'm sure this is heard everywhere: if you've got nothing to hide, you're not afraid of being filmed. If you've not got anything to hide, you're not afraid of being watched. Simple as that. You go into a city centre or a town centre, you are being watched. You are being filmed 24/7. It doesn't bother me. In fact, I wouldn't care if somebody did start following me around with a camera. It would not bother me in the slightest. You know what I mean? So the only people who should be scared of having the picture taken are people who are about to do something wrong. You know what I mean? And like I say, these people who are going out to cause harm, they're going to get the pictures online. You know what I mean? These buildings that people are taking pictures of, you could guarantee if you go online, there's a picture online of it. So what is the big issue? Why are people so afraid of someone standing there taking pictures? It is not a crime. So let me know what you think down in the comment section below. And if you agree with me, say if you want, if you want to prove me wrong and say yes, I'm a police officer and I've witnessed terrorists standing there take a bit, fine. Because I'm not standing here saying that I know the ins and outs of the law or ins and outs of facts, but I know for a fact that taking pictures is not against the law. Like I say, I know nothing about the law, but I can guarantee and put money on it that photography is not a crime. So if you care to prove me wrong, let me know down in the comment section what you think.